Get in the zone, all the zone. I hope you can't come in while I'm baking. And a pumpkin, and a pumpkin, and a pumpkin. Hey y'all, it's me, Gina, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, we are going to be making two very yummy pumpkin desserts. It is now November, and we are planning for our Thanksgiving meals for our families, and I thought I would go over two very simple pumpkin desserts for you guys. The first one, and we're gonna make these at the same time, and we'll tell you how we're gonna do this, but they're super easy, super quick, just a couple ingredients each, and it's gonna be something yummy for your Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, first we're gonna make a pumpkin pie. So I am just gonna start with a can of organic pumpkin. I think you can actually buy pumpkin that has the pumpkin spices already in it. I just got the organic pumpkin. I keep organic pumpkin in the house because we have a pup, and I make some of her treats out of just organic pumpkin. But so I just have the pumpkin. And you just want to get all of your pumpkin out of there. I got pumpkin everywhere. Don't be like me and get pumpkin everywhere. So I'm going to take the pumpkin pie spice mix. You can always mix up your own and use the nutmeg and the ginger and all that stuff, but I'm just going to be simple and just use pumpkin pie spice. Most cans of pumpkin have ingredients on the back on how to do this. I'm just going to use a couple teaspoons of the pumpkin pie spice already done together. You can add more or less just dependent upon how much spice you want in your pumpkin pie. And I'm just gonna whisk that together real quick. So we got our pumpkin in here, we got our pumpkin pie spice mix in here. Next what we wanna do is we wanna add in a can of sweetened condensed milk. So we've got a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. We're just gonna pour this in here. Okay, once you have your sweetened condensed milk in here, I'm just gonna whisk it together with my pumpkin pie filling, or there's the pumpkin and the pumpkin pie spice. And then I'm gonna add in 2 slightly beaten eggs. And you just wanna whisk this together really good. Make sure you don't have lumpy pumpkins. Nobody wants a lumpy pumpkin pie. That may be good, I don't really know. After you get it all whisked together, we're gonna put it in a 9-inch pie pan. I always do, you have to do deep dish because you wanna make sure you have enough. And I always put my pies and bake them on a cookie sheet, because if you don't, sometimes they spill over in the oven and you got a really nasty mess that you are just, I promise. You what? I promise. But I promise you don't want to clean that up out of your oven. So you want to make sure that you've got a pie sheet or something under it just to kind of keep it safe. So just make sure you get it whisked together good. It's going to be pretty runny. And you're going to want to dump it in your pie pan, your pie crust. Alright, after you have it dumped in your pie crust, you're gonna pop this baby in the oven. Put your oven on about 425 and cook it for about 10 or 15 minutes on 425, and then pop it down to 350 and cook it for another 35 to 40 minutes depending on your oven. If your crust starts to get too brown, just cover it with a little bit of tin foil, but you'll know when it's done when you kind of press on the top a little bit and it's springy and it's not, you can't just jam your fingers through it. And don't jam them through it, but just like kind of poke on the top. So we're gonna pop this in the oven, and while it's cooking for the first 15 minutes at 425, we're gonna start on another pumpkin recipe, and then when we go down to the 350 for this one, these two will be able to be cooked together, and it'll be yummy. So we'll be back in just a second. Okay guys, we have our pie popped in the oven at 425, so we got about 15 minutes to prepare this next dish. And it's pretty easy. You just want to make sure you do not pop it in there at 425 because that's too hot for this. So for this next one, we're gonna make a pumpkin spice bread. Super easy. I just have a little bread dish. Mine is glass. I like to bake my breads in glass. It's harder to burn the bottoms, but I just sprayed it down and wiped it down with a paper towel. This is a 2-ingredient bread. It's super good, super easy. And you want a pack of spice cake mix. I use Duncan Hines, but you can use whatever spice cake mix you want. And then you want a can of organic pumpkin. Now you don't want the one that's got the spices in it because we have spices in our cake. I don't know why I cannot get pumpkin out of this thing. Okay, so what you want to do is just dump your can of pumpkin into your spice cake mix. and you wanna mix it up really good. It's gonna be really thick, so you gotta mix it really good. Also, before you do this, I would suggest sifting your cake mix. If you don't, it's gonna be very lumpy, and you don't want little pockets of cake powder mix in your bread. So just make sure you sift it. If you don't have a sifter, you can do what I just did. I have a wire colander, and I just put it on top of my bowl and just use a whisk to like stir it around and get the little clumps out of it so that you don't have clumpy bread. Who eats clumpy bread? Nobody eats clumpy bread. So we're just gonna stir this up. And once we get it stirred up really good and all mixed together, we're just gonna put it in our little bread pan here, and we're gonna pop it in there with the pie, and it's gonna cook about 40 minutes at 350. So you'll be able to finish out your pie and your bread about the same time. And like I said, this is actually really yummy bread, and it is just 2 ingredients, super easy. It's a good thing you can serve it as a dessert. Sprinkle a little powdered sugar on top of it after you're done, or you can just serve it with your Thanksgiving meal. But I have mine all mixed together now, so I'm just gonna dump it in my bread dish. All right, guys, so once you have your dough in here, wait until your pie's done. We have just another few minutes, and then we're gonna pop this in there with the pumpkin pie, and this is what your dough is gonna look like. It is gonna rise, it is gonna get darker. If your top looks like it starts to burn before it's ready, cover it with some tinfoil like you would your pie crust, and use a little cake tester. I just have the little stick here, just make sure you stick it down in there and it comes out completely clean once you do it. But it's gonna take about 35 to 40 minutes for this. So we're just gonna wait a few minutes, pop this in there, and we will see you guys when we are done baking. All right, guys, we have pulled our stuff out of the oven. It took about 40 minutes for the bread and 40 minutes on 350 for the pumpkin pie, and we are good to go. There's a little darker spots on my pumpkin pie. I covered it with tinfoil when I started seeing that happen, but it's perfectly okay. It's gonna taste wonderful. And our pumpkin spice bread is already warm. You can slice it while it's warm, put some butter on it, do a little bit of honey. It'll be so good. So I have my 2 pumpkin desserts ready for Thanksgiving dinner. All in all, it took about 50 minutes to do both desserts, and about 40 minutes of that time was cook time. So these are some quick, easy, yummy fall desserts. I hope you guys enjoyed them. What other things do you guys like that are pumpkin? There's so many pumpkin recipes out there. What do you guys like that are pumpkin? Let me know in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because y'all know y'all want to. We put out videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and we will see y'all later. Stay sweet, y'all.